All right, this is for Gonzalo Cerneaz. I think I murdered that. Sorry. Okay, so the first thing that I would say right off the bat is we want to look at the anatomy. Um, the anatomy on here is kind of off a little bit. So the first thing is let's build up the torso. Um, let's turn this into actual RGB. Okay, so we build up the torso by just basically creating like our egg shape here. And this is the center torso. And we build up this. Now, here, it's kind of awkward because you don't have the foreshadowing or foreshortening going on here. And so what is happening is it looks like it's a kind of a dead limb, kind of short and kind of limpy, if that makes sense. And so by taking this and building off foreground elements like so, um, you're going to get a better foreshortening method. And let me just do a smaller version here. Um, so we can go like this. So we've got our torso, and then think about how this is angled, right? So you want to get that shortening up like this, and then you want this to stand in the foreground. So to fix this, I would build up more of this here instead of the way you've got it. So that's the first thing that I would do for this. Um, then the fingers are really tiny. They would be just a little bit longer, um, and that's going to help. Now, looking at this shoulder is where your issues start. So your shoulder here comes over like this, and the problem again is the same thing. You have this all this extra space over here, and there's no real sense or purpose to the skeletal structure. So you need to kind of move that arm over. And then think about the torso bending a little bit more. So your hip is coming up, and you're twisting your torso so that this is actually coming back like this. So you're twisting everything accordingly. And if that's the case, the breast is going to stick out a little bit more. And then I don't know if you're trying to do a breast here or if you're trying to do like the mastectomy type of thing going on. But it's very flat feeling. So you need to decide if what you're going to do with it. Um, but you still have the pectoral muscle in there that's going to kind of link that together. The other thing is, again, this is going to come forward a little bit more instead of straight vertical. And it's looking straight at me, which is fine, but you need to have that semblance of how things are kind of working. So that's another aspect that you want to look at. Now, if I put this leg up in here, um, again, you have that same aspect. You have this is facing forward towards me, and then this is facing away. So this is very uncomfortable pose. So if this is what you're going to be doing, then this is kind of rotated accordingly, and you want to have the twist marks uh, in the torso here where you're twisting that kind of aspect here. So the same thing goes here. Um, we want to have again this flattened aspect, not the face forward. And the same thing goes over here. You're actually twisting that away. And again, the torso needs to basically line up and it needs to go that way. So that's the first issue that I see right off the bat. Is just a lot of anatomy issues and things like that. So some of the things that I would do right off the bat is I would grab this here and I would bring that closer. I would reconfigure these feet so that they look a little bit better. And then the other thing I would tell you is look at your fabric. Now, the problem you have with your fabric is that you're running into a lot of non-realistic folds. And so that's kind of throwing off the whole composition. So you have this real thin fabric, or so it looks, and you've got the right idea here where you're crunching this, and that's fine. But there's no reason for this here to crunch like that. It just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel right. You're going to get some twist in here, things like that. You're going to get a little bit harder folds going on in this here, and you're probably going to get some balloon folds going on up here with some compression folds here. So you want to really look at how this is kind of built for a sense of photography. The other thing you want to pay attention to is you're really trying to push light and dark. So if this is your light source here, then you're going to have a much brighter light source on this side here reflecting. You're also going to have light sources coming here. You're going to have light sources coming in here. This is going to be kind of brighter. So you want to think about those places where the light's coming in, because right now you have so many different light sources. It needs to be kind of adjusted, because you have a light source coming on in this direction, and then you have the light source of this as well. So you need to think about what is happening with what you've got, and you can really kind of see how just by taking some of these pieces and kind of painting them to match the lighting source changes the overall look and feel of the entire concept. So those are definitely some things that you want to kind of pay attention to and take a look at. And then as this goes here, you're going to have another, you're going to have some light sources kind of casting. So if this is a central light source, again, it's the same concept. Where are you putting this light? Now this back here is getting lost because of you kind of went black to get the light source in there, but you went light everywhere else. And so you need to be consistent in that manner. In this, you could easily paint out some of the blacks here, and I'm just going to rough this out here real quick. But you can easily paint out some of these blacks to kind of emphasize, and I'll draw on that later. And just you can see how by simply kind of forcing this from a light to dark aspect, now I'm getting a much more interesting kind of feeling going on. And that's something, and I'm just roughing this out real fast, but you can definitely see how these darks will really push that light aspect, and then I can even kind of blend this out as I get further on. Like so, to kind of emphasize the character a little bit more. So though that's something that you really want to look at as far as that goes, is getting your lighting source in there so that it makes more sense. But those are some things that I would look at. Fix your anatomy first, and then go from there with the lighting source. All right.